In this chapter, we're going to render our animation. Now, the actual rendering process turns out to be pretty automatic. Not much for us to do during that, but there is some significant amount of things we can do in the setup to the rendering. And most of what we're going to do takes place in the window that we get to through these clappers here. The clapper on the far right at the top is called Display Render Settings. So we'll just come in and click on that. And there we go. So we've got different things we can use to render this. Maya software is default. The naming is just set automatically by default. That's fine. Next thing we're going to look at is the image format. Now, images are created in the renderer either as still frames or as videos. And for the most part, you're going to be creating these as still frames. For right now, for this example, I'm going to choose to export as an animation because it'll be easier to see it later on. But for most work, you're going to export as single frames and then assemble it later in a post-production tool. So you can see all kinds of different choices here, and you can actually go through these at your leisure. I'm just going to choose AVI, which is a video format here near the top. So just select that. Okay, that's fine. There it is. Scroll down, and the frame range that we're going to render here, start frame of 1, end frame, I'm going to set this to our end frame, which is 24. We have another setting here which is by frame. Leave that at 1 so it renders each frame. All kinds of other things, alpha channel and whatnot. Here, the renderable camera, we just have our windows. So the one that we're going to use is the perspective window. Later on we'll actually create cameras. The image size, by default it was set to 640 by 480. As you can see, there's all kinds of sizes here, including HD, 720, 1080, and even much, much larger 234K, which is 1,000 pixels square and whatnot for very high resolution film work. Okay, and you can actually just enter in the numbers there if you want. A few other things. Oh, there's one down here at the bottom. Enable default light. Now, we haven't created any lights in our scene. We will do that later, so we want to leave that checked. So that's it for here. Now, over in Maya software, we're going to do one thing for now. We'll be doing a lot more here later, but in the quality, we're going to set it to a different amount of edge anti-aliasing. Now, anti-aliasing used to be called the jaggies. Now they've given it this fancy name. What it is when you have a very sharp color contrast between one object and another, the edge will sometimes, because of the pixels involved, look like a stair step. And that doesn't look that good. So what this does is just soften it up a little bit. It takes a lot of processing power to do it, so it'll take some time. So don't do it unless you think it'll actually be valuable in the final rendering. But for now, we're just going to set it to a highest quality because our scene isn't that complex. It's not going to matter that much, but just something to keep in mind for the future. So there, that's set. We can change motion blur and stuff. We're not going to get into any of that quite yet, so we're just going to click on close here, and there we go. Okay, and now we're ready to render, which we'll take up next time.